Hi, I'm Dave Cross. Welcome to another in our series on green screen photography using gear from Westcott and software from FX Home. Today we're outside doing hopefully a very cool shoot, and all we have is our green screen. Now today we're outside, it's been raining, there's a guy mowing the lawn, but this is just to show you that you don't have to have a lot of gear to do some fun stuff with green screen. Now, I'm going to give you a couple suggestions to get started. There is a whole separate video on the fundamentals of green screen and lighting you can watch separately, but in our case today, there's two main things we're going to worry about. One is making the green screen nice and smooth. So when we hung it from the tree, we just tried to make sure there weren't any big wrinkles in there. But the biggest issue is lighting. Now, we're outside, but we don't want to be in direct sunlight. We want to make sure that we've got a nice diffused light. Today it's quite overcast. Like I said, it has been raining, but we are under a big tree of shade, and that really helps because we don't want to cast any big shadows on the background. So we don't want direct sunlight on our subject, and we also don't want a big shadow on the background. That will help us a whole lot. So again, today all we're doing is green screen, natural light, and a fun shoot. Let's get started. All right, we're ready to get started. We've got a great subject here. We've got a superhero we're going to work with today, Captain Z. Come on in, Captain Z. Here he is, ready to go. Come on right over here. Now, today we're going to be doing mostly waist-up shots, and then we've got a special effect we're going to do later on. We'll make him flying. So that's the kind of thing we're going to be doing. And so, Dom, I want you, when I go over there to camera, I'll give you some suggestions, but the main one is you want to do some nice superhero poses like you see like Superman and stuff does with your hands like this, okay? Ready to go? All right, let's get going. Okay, so you're looking right at me. There you go. There you go, awesome. All right. This time I want you to do something where you have one hand up like you're about to take off flying, okay? There you go. Yeah, and look right up like that, like you're about to take off. Perfect. All right, now we're going to do something just a little bit different. We want to make it start to look like our superhero here is flying a little bit. So all we got is safety pins and some fishing wire. Okay, let's see what that looks like. That looks pretty good. Can you just tilt it forward just a bit? There you go. All right, for our last shot, we're going to do something a little different. We've got our superhero here. We've got a stool. He's all balanced on here, and then we're going to get him to hit like a kind of a superhero flying pose. We've got the string to make the cape go. So are you ready? You're going to put your hands out. Okay, ready to go? Here we go. Good job. Excellent. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, Dom, look over here. Keep the same pose. There you go. Perfect. Look at that. That's fantastic. You're flying. All right. Super. So as you can see, there's not a lot of setup required when you're shooting outside, just a green screen and some shade, and we got some great shots. Now we're going to go into the software and start extracting and putting him on a new background. Let's take a look.
Well, let's see if we can't make Super Z look really superhero by setting him up here so we can do a nice print for him. So I usually use 200 DPI for my color printer. Of course, you can use whatever settings you like for whatever you're going to do with the image. But to start off, I'm going to kind of take an approach here. I know I want to end up with two different images of Super Z on the same photograph. I'm going to use layers to do that, but in order to make my life simpler, I'm going to do it in a couple of steps. So the first step is I'm going to add one of the images I have of him, a nice close-up. I think that one right there looks good. Let's open that one up. And I think we're going to do just a bit of scaling and position him this. Let's take a quick look at our alpha. Looks like we need a bit of work here, so let's go back to the key. Click that foreground a bit. There we go, looks pretty good. Now, if you want, at this point, we could actually go back here, and because we're going to use the same background image, so let's actually bring the background in just so we can see what we're doing. Another stock image from Fotolia here. So that's going to be our background image, because it's really a good idea to look at things like the edges of the person in the context of the background. So if you spend too much time looking at it just on the transparent background, you might end up doing more work. So by bringing the background in first, that gives me a really good idea of where it's going to be. So now with that in mind, let's go back to our foreground. I think I might scale him down just a bit. Kind of in the corner of our photograph. Now what I want to do is I want to have this front version of Super Z kind of as a separate image that I can bring back in. So I'm going to temporarily remove the background because I want to export just this. So let's go export this canvas. So we'll save that, and now we're going to actually change our foreground image out to one of the ones of him flying. One of the ones, I like that one right there. So we'll bring that in. Now this one we're going to have to do a little bit of work. I'm going to scale him down to kind of the size we want because he's going to be up in the sky flying. Here again, I would now go back and bring in the background again because that same theory of trying to put it in context. We can clearly see that part of his cape is see-through, but at least now before we go to adjust it, we can see it with the background in there to kind of see what we need to do. So we're going to have him up here in the sky. So let's try and get the rest of his cape in there. It looks pretty good. Now there's some little bits here and there, like there's a shadow kind of here that we can get rid of, but that's where masking's going to come in because there's also a bit of the stool we want to get rid of. So we go to masks, add a mask, and let's first of all just get rid of this bit of a stool in here. We also need to add another one because I can see one of our, actually both of our safety pins, and just to make sure we're not seeing any of the wires, let's get rid of that. Let's get closer because I also want to add a mask just to fix up this part here. All right, zoom back out again. That's looking pretty good. He's up in the sky just like we want. Now we want to create kind of a little comic book cover, whatever it is we're doing here. So let's go over to the layers, and remember earlier we exported that close-up of him. We're going to add a layer, and then on that layer bring in that file that we created, that PNG. That's going to allow us to have him in the foreground looking very superhero-ish. And let's go back to the foreground and just position him just a little higher, maybe rotate him a bit more. There we go. So pretty straightforward, and we've got a nice fun little project. Remember, this one didn't even require a whole lot of gear. It was just a green screen hanging up on a tree, and we're able to create a superhero flying up in the sky thanks to a green screen from Westcott and PhotoKey software.